It starts at 6. Oh, Hi, I'm Mayor Lori Klein Quinn. I call the regular city council meeting, City of Tomball, Texas to order. We would like to invite you to join the council in our opening ceremonies. Our invocation will be led by Pastor Mike Hernandez of the local church, and the pledges to the U.S. and the Texas flag will be led by our Mayor Pro Tem, John Ford, who is going to also give us a little moment of
Education.
All right, I'll stand.
First of all, thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity, and City Council. On behalf of local church, we appreciate this opportunity. Let's pray. Father, we love you, and we thank you for this opportunity to gather, to plan and strategize and expand this beautiful city of Tomball. But Lord, I'm reminded of what Psalm 127 says, that unless the Lord build this place, unless the Lord guard this place, we all do it in vain, and we watch in vain, Father. So I pray right now for this meeting that you be invited into everything that we do, every decision that's made, every strategy that's presented. God, I pray it would be humbly presented for your will for this incredibly beautiful city. I ask your protection and guarding over everything that's talked about. I pray that your hand would continue to bless this wonderful city, Lord. The city council, their families, the mayor, and every one of our citizens that lives in this beautiful town. God, I pray your hand would be upon us. Lead us. We invite wisdom into the room, and we ask that unity would be here far greater than anything else we could pray for. God, unify us as one nation under God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for just having this moment of education. So we have all grown up saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And one of the things that kind of keeps bugging me is that there's a piece of it that we say incorrectly. And if you'll look at the Pledge of Allegiance, next time you can look it up and look at how it's written, there is no comma after one nation under God, or one nation. It's one nation under God. Okay, there's no comma after one nation. We say it correctly, actually, when we cite the Texas pledge, because it has that same phrase in there, one state under God. But if you would join me in the pledge today in no comma. Okay, all right, face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, and indivisible. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Council. The next item on the agenda is public comments. At this time, anyone will be allowed to speak on any matter other than personnel or matters of litigation for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes. No council board discussion or action may take place on a matter until such matter has been placed on the agenda and posted in accordance with the law. Do we have anyone who signed up to speak?
We don't have anyone signed up on the general comments, but we have people signed up for each one.
Okay. Is there anyone who did not sign up on general comments that would like to speak at this time for 3 minutes on any item? Yes, come to the podium and say your name and your address. And we're kind of strict on that 3 minutes, but it'll be a nice little ding.
My name is Michael Pierce. I have 2 businesses on Main Street. I live at 13607 Arcot Bend in Tomball, Texas.
Okay.
I just want to say congratulations on winning the election. I knew you were going to win because you had the big signs. I call those things. Also, I would like to say, if you could get Loud Lovett to come in and sign my wall, it would mean a lot to me. We have signatures of all the country musicians that come to town. We have Ray Wiley Hubbard, Hayes Carl, Junior Brown, the list goes on, but we have saved a special spot for Lyle on the other side since before you won the election. So this has been a long thing. He will not answer any of my text messages or messages. So if you could do anything, my name is Michael. Our store is called Cloud Chief and Co. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
So basically, you want me to call cousin Lyle to call you, is that right? I will. Thank you. Okay. All right. At this time, we're going to move on to presentations. And so I would like Carolyn, Bab and her sons to come up. We have a presentation to make to them. And you introduce yourself and your son.
Hi, I'm Carolyn. This is my second attack. And we're here. Thanks so much to Lamira being very gracious. She's going to make a proclamation in honor of my oldest son, who passed away in double function in 2 years. He was killed in a run accident by his hospital.
And it is our honor to be able to honor him this way. And I thank you so much for reaching out. to us. So this is the proclamation. Whereas on the evening of June 27, 2020, Justin Alejandro Ortiz was recklessly struck from behind by a hit and run driver as he was riding his motorcycle on the East Freeway in Houston, passing a few hours later. Justin was just 3 weeks shy of his 24th birthday and 2 months from beginning of his senior year at the University of Houston downtown. And Justin is survived by his mother, Carolyn Babb, and his brothers Pasquale and Daniel, both also graduates of Tomball Memorial High School. And a few months after his death, Justin received his nomination to the National Society of Leadership. Sorry. Every mother in this room. And success at U of H downtown, and was given honorable mention at the university's commencement ceremony in December of 2020. And with the generous help of family members and friends, the Justin Alejandro Ortiz Memorial Scholarship at UH Downtown for marketing students has been funded, and the first recipient of this scholarship for the fall semester of 2022 will soon be announced. And Justin was also an organ donor, and his generosity has blessed those recipients and their families. And the city of Tomball wishes to honor Justin's life and continued influence on his family, school, friends, and the Tomball community. All that we love deeply becomes part of us. Now therefore, I, Lori Klein Quinn, Mayor of the City of Tomball, on behalf of the Tomball City Council and all citizens hereof, I do proclaim Monday, June 27, 2022, as Justin Alejandro Ortiz Day. Thank you. Also around, the council can take it down. Okay, the next presentation is going to be a public roast of Chad Day. Chad's gonna do it. Even though Chad's last council meeting was a couple of weeks ago, we wanted to honor him publicly. And so we have a presentation to Chad Deggs with appreciation, council member position 3, in recognition of your exemplary performance and your dedication to the highest standards of excellence on behalf of the citizens of Tomball, January 18th, 2014 to June 6th, 2022. Thank you.
Words.
Yes.
This is the last time I'll have to be there and I get my 3 minutes.
Start the 3
Yeah, start the timer. No, I just want to thank all of you guys. It's a total, complete honor serving Tomball for the last 8 years. And, you know, I count so many of you as friends that we've met, you know, over the years there. I mean, and, you know, that's one of the greatest parts of serving. And there's going to be some things I miss. Like, I never know what Chief Burke's hair is going to look like. Today it's cut off. Sometimes it comes in like a chicken. It just mixes it up. But I just really had a good time here, and I want to tell all of you guys, you had a great council. We've got great. I want to congratulate, of course, Brady Carr and Mayor Quinn, and obviously Councilman Dane for a great election, and you guys make a great team. I'm going to share one quick story. We got to share it with the guys at executive session, but right in the heat of the election, it was contentious, right, as they all can be. We went into executive session, and this was, you know, maybe two or 3 months ago, and we couldn't meet in our regular executive session sort of voting machine. So we had to meet in our little break room. And there we were dealing with issues that we can only deal with in executive session. Some of them are heavy. That night was heavy. And, you know, I took a moment to look around the room. We all knew change was coming. We weren't sure what it was going to be like, but I can tell each one of you, everyone in that room was 100% Tomball. It was as if there was no election going on. I mean, you know, Gretchen was there and Lori was there, and, you know, we knew all this was going on, but you've just got a great team. And we can all just be really, really proud of everybody up here. And I'm still going to be involved and be around it. And I just want to thank all of you guys, congratulate y'all. It just, it's been a real honor. So thank you.
Go around council.
I'll be quick about this.
The rest of your mail.
Did you get your mail? You did. You got a big packet of it.
Had to roll it out on a dolly.
Yeah.
For all of you that sent Chad letters.
Okay. Thank you, Chad. Reports and announcements. The Tomball City Pool, Jerry Matheson Park Pool. The regular season will operate from 10 to 6 Tuesday through Friday, noon to 8 on Saturday and Sunday through August 14th. End of season hours will be noon to 8, August 20 and 21st, August 27th and 28th, September 3rd and 4th, and on September 5th, the pool will be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to close out the swim season. So everything is fixed. Send your kids to the pool. It's good. It's closed every Monday during swim season, except July 4th and Labor Day to clean. Tomball Kids Club activities, that is started July 7th, 12th, 14th, 19th, 21st, 26th, and 28th, and then August from 10 to 12 at Jurgens Park Pavilion. Registration is required. So the Kids Club is going to start July 7th. July 4th celebration and Street Fest, 6 to 10 at Four Corners, Business 249 and 2920. We will have fireworks unless it rains again and the wind comes in, but July 4th fireworks and streets celebration. July 9th, second Saturday at the Depot. August 5th is Tomball Night, Parade of Lights, Health and Wellness Expo. I am not sure if we're having fireworks or not that night on Tomball Night, are we?
We should, unless it rains and there's wind.
Okay. And then August 13th, second Saturday at the Depot. So reports by city staff. And members, first, we'll go ahead and the minutes, and then we'll have reports by city staff. Reports by city staff.
We don't have any.
Okay, nothing to report. Right. Then the minutes. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of June 6, 2020 special and regular city council meetings and June 13th, special Tomball City Council.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Call for the vote?
I got Chad's computer.
Do we want, can we do it with a verbal vote? Okay.
Okay, I'll vote aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
The next item is old business. Old is to approve on second reading resolution number 2022-20 TDC, a resolution of the City Council of Tomball, Texas, authorizing and approving the TEDC Corporation's project to expend funds in accordance with an economic development agreement by and between the corporation and Sip Hip Hooray to make direct incentives to our expenditures for advertising, promotion, and marketing for monthly shop and stroll events held in Old Town Tomball, City of Tomball, is authorized under section 505.158 of the Texas Local Government Code. The estimated amount of such expenditures for reimbursement for the project is $40,545. So like motion to approve the resolution 2022 TEDC.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone wishing to speak, signed up to speak? All right, at this time, come forward. Those who have signed up to speak on this item, say your name and address.
I have Victoria Croft, who does not wish to speak, but wants to show support for this item. She's at 11743 North Point Boulevard, Tomball, Texas, 77367. I have Amy Bench, who also does not wish to speak, but would like to show support for this item. I have Madison Heald at 11515 Aspen Way Drive, Houston, who does not wish to speak, but would like to have her support recorded. Teresa Paris at 803 Baker Drive, Tomball, Texas, 77375, who does not wish to speak, however, would like to have her support for this item, in support for this item. I also have Katie Barnes at 31906 McKinney Run Drive in Hockley, Texas, who does not wish to speak, but would like her show support recorded for this item. I also have Mike and Sharon Brockwell of 22102 Bromwell Drive, Magnolia, who does not wish to speak, however, would like her their support recorded. I also have Carlos J. Mahi, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, is 2310 East Winding Pines Drive, Tomball, Texas, 77375. Does not wish to speak, however, would like his support recorded. I also have Melanie Martin at 23108 Winding Pines Drive, Tomball, Texas, 77375, who does not wish to speak, however, would like her support recorded. And I have Bruce Hildegeist from the chamber who would like to speak in favor.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Bruce Hellegeist. I'm the president of the Greater Tomball Area Chamber of Commerce. My personal address is 15300 Cutton Road, number 2129, Houston, Texas, 77070. Mayor, thank you for promoting Tomball Night tonight. Actually, the shop and stroll idea is very similar to what Tomball Night was intended to be 50 years ago, and it lasted that way for about 30 years. It's gone kind of in a different direction over the last 20 years to vendors coming into town, but Tomball Night is it's just like a carbon copy of what Shop and Stroll is really a carbon copy of what Tomball Night was always meant to be. There were pony rides, face paintings, that sort of thing that's encouraged people to come into visitors to come in the stores and shop. So I'm here to speak on behalf of the chamber in support of old business H7 on its second reading. And as the Chamber of Commerce representative, what we do each and every day is we want businesses to thrive. And I have to say, most ideas of what we do come from the business owners themselves. We go to a lot of different meetings and whatnot to hear what other communities are doing, but our own business people are where a lot of those ideas come from, how they can benefit. And I just have to also reflect on Pastor Hernandez's comments and then even Chad's about what an incredibly awesome, beautiful city Tomball is. People always say there's something special about it, and it is. And people are really drawn here, especially now. And we want there to be more and more people that come to Tomball to shop, to really to make Tomball a home. But the chamber, the Greater Tomball Chamber, is in full support of the shop and stroll that benefits our local businesses. And the initial idea began in the chamber office, but there was just not enough staff resources to do it ourselves. We've got so much on our plate as it is. The events were so well received. We heard so many great sales numbers from local businesses. They were comparing it to Christmas time here in Tomball. And after positive feedback, after hearing positive feedback, we encouraged Megan Morris to talk to the Tomball Economic Development Corporation about marketing help for the event. The EDC is funded by sales tax dollars, not property tax dollars. The grant that's in question is a $4,000 per event grant. It is only reimbursed for the amount spent on the marketing, no more. And it would be less if it doesn't go to $4,000. And those coming to shop and stroll will spend more time in Tomball than just shop. They will see Tomball for what it is, dine, enjoy our city, tell others about Tomball, and possibly make Tomball their home. So because of those reasons, the chamber's in full support of the shop and stroll event. Just another feather in the cap for Tomball, what we feel. Thank you.
I have Scott Moore.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Scott Moore. I'm 404 South Pine Street as a resident, and I have also two businesses here in Old Town, two restaurants, Tejas Barbecue and Tejas Burger Joint. And so I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on support of the shop and stroll as well. From my observation, it's been a very successful event. Watched it grow from its early beginnings, which is not that long ago, actually, to what it's become today. And to see it grow further, I think it's going to be really good for Old Town Tomball and all of Tomball, to be more specific. So It's an event that really focuses on people coming to shop. Unlike the other festivals that Tomball has, both the city and German Fest, which are great. I love German Fest. I love listening to Oompa music in my backyard at 10 o'clock at night. I don't mind picking up beer cans and Wiener Schnitzel sticks in my front yard. So I'm okay with that. But honestly, for our business, German Fest is our slowest weekend of the year. It's hard to believe, but it's true. Our regulars just don't want to come and deal with it. I get it. But so I like this event because it's focused on people coming to Tomball with the purpose of exploring the businesses, doing some shopping. And it is funded by sales tax dollars. And you got to think about that. I know it's true at our restaurant. Those dollars are from a lot of people that not only don't live in Tomball, but they might live out of state as well. So people visiting, they're spending money. We're collecting their tax dollars from out of town visitors. So I don't know what the exact numbers are of those percentages, but I think it's important to know, to realize where this money is coming from. As from sales tax dollars, and who wouldn't want somebody from New York or California to help us throw a party, for crying out loud. So anyway, I just wanted to voice my support for it. I hope that you guys follow through on it, push it through. It sounds like there's a lot of groundswell support of it. I'm sure it'll go through. So anyway, thank you for your time.
Raymond Francois.
Hello, everyone. I'm Raymond Francois. I reside at 20823 Clydesdale Post Road in Tomball, Texas. And I'm here on behalf of the Sip and Stroll and also representing on the Hampton Inn. From the aspect of the hotel industry, it has been phenomenal for us. And the reason being is on the weekends that it has been held, we get a lot of our wedding travels on the weekend. Tomball is wedding central. And a lot of my guests, honestly, they've actually rented restaurants and other places in Old Town Spring and in Vintage Park instead of spending the money here in Tomball. When I've told them, hey, there's a Sip and Stroll, and they're like, oh yes, from wherever they're from, we've had them before prior. They were excited. They went and they spent the money here. And to me, if you're gonna spend the tax dollars, might as well spend it here in town, as Scott just said. And as well, the demographic that we're getting now, I have a lot of my guests that have actually been staying with me for 3 months, even more, waiting on their homes being built with all the delays. And the one thing when I tell them, hey, here's something for you to do this weekend, because a lot of things love Tomball, things don't stay open late. We don't have a lot of, our festivals are awesome, but when that happens, it motivates my guests to actually go out into Tomball and actually explore Tomball. And they come back and say, this solidified my decision to move here. So it's a great representation of the demographic, the 35, 36, as you've spoken before, that's staying here. That's what they want. They're saying it, and we fully support it, and we want it because I love being able to give the guests something to do that's here local and not sending them somewhere else when I'm here loving my city, and what better way to do it. Thank you.
Harper.
My name is Chuck Harper, 17331 Tall Cypress Drive, Spring, Texas, 77388 is my address at home. I'm the owner of Cherry Street Antiques at 106 North Cherry Street in Tomball, 77375. I'm here to pledge my support for this project because it actually benefits the small businesses of Tomball. It brings in new people. I will share some numbers with you. It is this past Saturday, our average Saturday is 3,000 to 3,500 every Saturday. We brought in over 5,000, and we give that credit to Sip and Stroll. So that being said, I pray that y'all have the focus, the knowledge that we're giving you, and you will use that to accept this program. Thank you.
Vicky Britt Hill, and I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name.
Oh, thank God I had them on my head. Good evening. Oh, I'm Britt Hill. I live at 11515 Aspen Way Drive. I also own 213 West Main Street. Good evening, Mayor Quinn and City Council members. My name is Britt Hill, and I own the property located at 213 West Main. And my daughter Madison and I own and operate Vicky B's on Main, which occupies the property. I want to share with you what these events have done for us. The additional revenue dollars generated by these events have enabled us to hire 2 additional employees. My voice is shaking. These events are directly responsible for a 15% increase in our overall inventory, and more closely related to the grant, as we have generated an additional 16% in sales tax dollars during the hours of these events. Moving forward, these events are going to allow us to allocate monies into upgrading our signage, improvements to both the exterior and interior of our building, and help us to continue to grow through revenues and exposure. There are between 28 to 32 small businesses that are actively participating in these events, and this grant provides a direct benefit to those small businesses that otherwise would simply be cost prohibitive. It also provides the potential benefit for those that choose not to participate just by direct exposure from all the attendees. We consistently hear from those attending, we had no idea all of this was here. This isn't just about a 4-hour event. It's truly about the big picture, creating a destination for families and individuals to come, eat, shop, and spend their time here in Old Town Tomball. I am hoping that we can count on you. And I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you very much. By the way, I do need to make note, in the June 6 minutes, the written minutes, there is an error. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay. I did not speak at the June 6 meeting, but I did submit my form in support, and the written minutes reflect that I was opposed, and I would like that corrected. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Megan Morris.
Good evening. That's a lot to follow up. I just wanted to give a quick report on the event that was Saturday. We hosted the summer soiree this past Saturday. All of the feedback was great that we got from the stores and the shoppers and the restaurants alike, per usual. As far as analytics, we showed that over 250,000 people had the event cross their screen on social media. That's up from 67,000 the last time. We were also lucky enough to be, Tomball Main Street was the featured image on the Houston Chronicle What to Do This Weekend, which I thought was really special, and mentioned, I think, around 10 of the businesses by name. So just as a reminder, this event is about Tomball and building business and commerce here. We promote over 45 businesses with this event, between the restaurants and the shops. And I fully believe this grant will be paid back time and time again. To your note, Mr. Stoll, about the businesses coming together, I think if you look around this room, if I could get a show of hands for the business owners that are present here tonight. We have, and I've made that a very important point through this whole thing. This is the last time I'm ever going to mention this. I do feel like some things have been made personal about me. I'm not sure where it came from or why. I won't entertain it. And my focus is and will remain on using my skill set and whatever small platform I might have to build up others and other businesses and not to tear them down. The focus is and should be supporting local business here in this town. So that's all. And I would really appreciate a vote to pass this. It would mean a lot to a lot of the people here in this room tonight. So, thank you.
Baker Pierce.
Hello, my name is Michael Pierce. I live at 13607 Arcot Bend, Tomball, Texas, 77377. I have two buildings on Main Street. One's the Cloud Chief Co. and I own the building that the Terrarium business is located in. We use the EDC to help us beautify both those buildings over the past like 3 years. We spent a lot of our own money to beautify Main Street. And honestly, I'm not sure who else has really done so in the last 10 years. I could be wrong and I may be. We do. So it's nice to see, we did all that only really to sit there in a ghost town, to be quite honest with you. I do it for town. It's a fun thing that I do. I love it. I spend a lot of time writing songs in there, so I get a lot of free time. And that's the bad thing about these is I have to actually work when they do this, okay? So the one thing in German Festival, like I could take a vacation during German. And we are gonna start doing that, taking that week off, because I do work every day, 7 days a week. But I could not do that during one of these, because a lot of people come in. The other thing is, let me see here real quick. I mentioned that point there. One of the biggest things we hear, and everyone, and someone alluded to it a while ago, but people who live in Tomball say this to us daily. Like, I've been here 20 years, I never come to Old Tomball. These are Tomball citizens. And I look, I'm kind of, you might not know this, I'm kind of a local celebrity. I write these songs and stuff. So I see people everywhere that I know, right? And they'll say, hey, you're that guy that writes songs, you're that. But when I go to Walmart or when I go wherever to eat, I'm always looking, oh, this is my customer. I never see him. And it's what's awesome about that is that's the potential. There is so much potential. We do well. My business does well. The Terrarium does well. But the potential is really awesome because a lot of people walk by the store, they don't come in. We hear this 20-year thing all the time, that people that live here, for God's sakes. So these sip and strolls bring people in that don't live here, which we need because honestly, the citizens aren't coming out like they should. I can look around the room and I don't recognize hardly anybody here. Probably many of y'all never been in my store. That's our problem, right? And so this is a great event because it gets the word out. People they see it on their phones, they come out to the deal. And that's pretty much what I think is the most coolest thing about this is that it brings all these people that didn't know we were here, even our neighbors, to come out to the store. My neighborhood is full of people that never have been to my store. Just our one neighborhood, for God's sakes. So there's so much potential. It's really, really neat. So anyway, that's all I want to say is I think this is a great thing. I am a little bit against it because I have to work. But other than that, we're good. So thank y'all very much.
Eric Sundin.
Hi, I'm Eric Sundin, address 15303 Parkville Drive, Houston, Texas. Don't hold that against me. I'm from Houston, but I come to Tomball as much as I can. Tomball is so much better. Just the numbers, and thank you for letting me speak. The numbers that we see, I'm the assistant director and curator of Da Vinci Gallery on Main Street. So we're at 315 West Main Street. St. Patrick's Day, we had 87 new people that had never been to the gallery. Now, I was excited last Thursday, a normal day. I had 18 people come in Thursday. That was a great Thursday for the gallery. So it's not like going to the shops. It's a little bit different at the gallery. But some of the numbers, Mother's Day out, we had 112 people come in and we had revenue of $4,700. So those are great numbers for the gallery, really good. The last Saturday, the summer soiree, we had 120 people. We sold 10 items and we served a variety of teas, soft drinks, and wine. So people don't even ask for it. You offer, would you like a drink? They're like, sure, what do you have? So we offered flavored teas and so forth. So excited to be a part of it. I think it generates so much activity in town, much more than we see normally. We got a little bit from German Fest, but we had to go out in the alley by Fire Ant and put some paintings out there and put a tent out there to get some activity. It's like there's 1,000 people a block away, but they don't come to Main Street. So pretty excited about this. We get great business and love the activity. So thank you.
Okay, we're in the discussion. Is there any discussion from council?
The only thing I would like to say is I do plan on voting for it again tonight, like I did last time. But in reference to your comment, what you said, what I mean by that is I know everybody's together here in this room. But what I would like to see is you to form a group for a downtown merchants group. And the reason I say that is because our grant that we're voting on tonight is really between the EDC and one business. Whereas if it's for a downtown merchant group, then it's for all the retail businesses that are members of that group. Because, you know, it may seem little minute, but every day that I wake up and I make a vote, my name's tied to that vote. And I would like to know that my vote is tied towards a group and not an individual business. And I'm not saying anything negative, but if I vote for an individual business and something happens to that business or the business people choose to take that grant and do something else, my name is tied to that. That's why I made the statement that I said. And please understand that. And I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about that afterwards. But, you know, I do know that we are together as one in this community. I'm all for that. I promote that every day with what I do. Tomball is much bigger than just the city limits of Tomball. We have a lot of people outside the city who actually feel as though they live in the city, think they can vote. Chad probably wanted some of those people. I saw some of the signs outside the city, and unfortunately, Chad, I don't think those people could vote for you. But, you know, we are one, and I want to see that grow. But that's why I made the statement that I said. So that's where I stand.
Mayor, I want to clarify a couple of things, if I may. I am for downtown businesses. I'm for all the businesses. I'm for all of our residents. My record over 15 years, voting record shows that. Fortunately, I served as a firefighter, a volunteer in this community for 9 years. And unfortunately, I had to work some very horrific scenes that were alcohol related. I put a 3-year-old, a 13-month-old, and a dad, along with my brother firefighters in body bags at Zion Road in 249 because of somebody who wanted to have a little drink. Hit him in the back end, car burst up. I was the first firefighter on scene. I live with that every single day, guys. It's a nightmare. A woman running up to me with nothing on but her underwear because everything else has been burnt off of her. Can't you see my husband, my babies, they're effing burning? Do something. Folks, that sticks with me every single day. 1 week later to the day, at the ballparks over here, guy was intoxicated with his girlfriend in El Camino, went down the ditch, came up, got his car wrapped around the high power lines, came down upside down. His girlfriend was ejected. He screamed while he burned to death. Folks, that's why I have the statement I have about alcohol. These first responder guys, they have to live with that. They do. They have to live with it the rest of their lives. That's why I have objections to alcohol. If this sip and stroll were a shop and stroll, probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But when we broadcast that it's alcohol first, that's where I have the problem. That's where I have a problem that we have to attract people based on the fact that there may be some libations there. I just want you all to understand, I'm gonna vote for your deal tonight because I do believe in your businesses. But hear me, folks, if you serve somebody 1 drop of alcohol too much, is that worth all the money you guys make? No. It's not worth all the money in the world when you lose somebody to a drunk driver. It's not. So I'll be voting for you tonight.
All right, any other discussion? Let's call for the vote.
Mayor, I know you're in the vote, but I also want to let y'all know that I talked to Kelly Violet after the last meeting. I did go to Kelly and talk to her. So I wanted to let Kelly know that she had some sway in where I'm at tonight. So it's because of Kelly.
Okay, let's take a verbal vote. Is that okay?
Everybody verbal or just one?
Oh,
Everybody else is able to vote. It's just Randy's computer.
Randy can't vote.
Correct.
Randy, you still,
This is your computer.
I know it is cursed. So, cursed.
It doesn't work for you, it's not gonna work for me.
So do we have just one verbal vote or do we- everybody verbal? Verbal, okay. Verbal, Randy, we'll start with you.
Aye.
I'll go to
Councilman-
John. If you start, you have to go around the dice.
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. At this time also, we're going to reopen the minutes. Whoever, for the change in the minutes that, which go, Vicky had mentioned that she had not spoke, but, and she had voted, is in favor of it. So I'd like to go ahead and make that official in the minutes since we have already approved.
So I think I held the
minutes.
motion. So I will amend my motion that we make the one change that's been brought to our attention.
Okay, we
Now
have a-
we've got to vote on Derek's amendment,
okay. Do we have a second?
on whether or not he can.
Yeah, whether or not I can amend is got to be voted for
Right,
first.
he doesn't get it. We don't need a second.
Correct.
So we take a vote on just whether or not we can amend.
Whether or not we'll allow Derek to amend his motion.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
Don't need a second.
Don't need a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed, same side. All right, now we are going to do an,
Now you'll vote on the amended motion to make the change.
right, so Derek, if you would say your amendment out loud.
That we modify the last city council meeting by change, I believe it's Vicky, is that correct? Vicky Brent's request to go on in favor of versus against, which was incorrectly noted.
Okay,
The audio was correct.
right. This is the official minutes that'll go into the record book that we're going to amend. Okay, do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'll make note, it was not the last city council meeting, it was the last regular city council meeting.
Yeah, June 6th.
6th.
The minutes of June 6th, not June 13th, which the ratification of the vote is what that was.
Correct.
So this is amendment of the June 6th minutes to be changed according to Councilman Townsend, second by Councilman Stoll. All in favor, say.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Okay, those minutes will be officially changed. Our next item on new business is to authorize city manager to execute documents necessary to participate in the National Purchasing Partners Government Procurement Cooperative. That's a mouthful, Jessica.
I'm actually gonna turn it over to Chief Sephora
Jeez. Okay,
because it's a mouthful.
it's okay.
and I may or may not be able to say a mouthful. Mayor and council, the National Purchasing Partners Government Cooperative Group, said it, is a group of cities and private businesses that are together to do a cooperative, much like we have with Buy Board and with HGAC. This is related to item number 2 on the agenda, but we have had an account for multiple years because it came with the International Association of Fire Chiefs membership that Randy started. But it has never been accepted by council. And in order to make sure that we are above board with our audits, we need to have that accepted by y'all first before we utilize anything from that. And that is what this item is.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to authorize city manager to execute documents necessary to participate in National Purchasing Partners Government Procurement Cooperative.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I just have one question for Chief. We not giving up HGAC and we're not giving up Buy Board capabilities. We're
this
just
is-
simply adding one, correct?
Correct. We are merely adding to our repertoire where we can go. It is primarily based on law enforcement and fire. However, we can utilize it for anything that we need if they happen to have a contract.
All right, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Okay. So do we need to go ahead and do individual verbal votes for this?
You don't have to do it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
Motion carries unanimously.
This is like the old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be terrible next meeting. We'll all be going.
Next one is next item on the agenda is to approve the purchase of one 2022 Ford Fouts FOUR mini pumper through the National Purchasing Partners Government Division Cooperative Purchasing Contract in the amount of $261,000. Joe, I'm assuming you're doing that also?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Mayor and council, item number 2 is for the purchase of the mini pumper that we spoke about a couple of months ago. We have recently had quite a few major maintenance issues with our trucks. We spent $27,000 2 months ago to replace a Cummins motor in our oldest pumper that we have so that we can keep it on the road. We've had more maintenance problems with that pumper related back to that same motor replace. It is not costing us anything to get it fixed. However, that truck is currently sitting downtown getting fixed at Cummins. We also have engine 3 that's almost 30 years old. It is also having a head problem and is at a private shop over off of 529 getting fixed. This is merely a stopgap, but it's also placing us ahead of the curve. 2 years ago, we sold a tanker and a rescue truck without replacing. We put over $181,000 back into the general fund and did not replace those 2 apparatus. What this apparatus is going to do is it's going to allow us to continue operations for short amounts of time. Memorial Day, we had 3 apparatus go down. By placing this truck in, we would have another one to be able to rely on in the event something like that happened. But it is not meant to replace an actual full-size fire truck. It is meant to respond to the first responder calls, take the wear and tear off of the ladder truck. However, in the event that we did have some major catastrophe, again, and not be able to get a mechanic in, we can get into that apparatus and still be able to respond to calls. The reason that we're bringing this earlier than intended is that we are anywhere from 6 months to 2 years out due to the Ford's backlog of supply problems. With the supply chain issues, it's causing a backlog all the way across the board. This truck is actually built, ready to go, and to be picked up in the next couple of weeks back here and in service in Tomball. We approached Fouts about it. They have held the vehicle for us for 2 weeks. That does expire tomorrow based on your vote this evening.
Okay, thank you. I entertain a motion to approve the purchase of one 2022 Ford Fouts 4 mini pumper through the National Purchasing Partners Government Division Cooperative Purchasing Contract in the amount of $261,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Mark, oh, you,
Is this a budgeted item or is this?
No, sir, this is not a budget item. I'm sorry, I should have said that. Last year during the budget process was during that time that Randy was on his way out. We had an interim fire chief and then I stepped in as interim fire chief for that short amount of time. I did have the budget, but it was after we had already submitted the budget. Many of these maintenance issues have happened after that budget problem as well. So this is not a budgeted item. However, it was intended to be in this next budget. However, we do want to take advantage of this apparatus being available right now before it hits the open market.
Second question is, I guess, to Jessica now. How is this going to affect our budget?
We have the sufficient funds. We're tracking pretty closely and keeping a close eye on where we are revenues and expenditures for this year. And we're in a very positive position. We wouldn't recommend this large of an expenditure if we didn't feel comfortable that we could absorb this late in the fiscal year. We're very comfortable that we could absorb this.
Mayor, if I may, do we have, and I'm gonna have a couple questions for you just a second, sir. Do we have the money in general fund or do we actually have this in our replacement vehicle fund?
This will be a general funded item. Sorry, Catherine and I have spoken about. this
General
already.
funded
It will
item.
be pulled from the general fund.
Okay. This is a small pumper. When you say small, what kind of a tank do we have aboard?
300-gallon tank, 1,500 gallon per minute.
So she's not gonna be your first in on the structure.
No, not intended to be the first in on the structure, but it could supplement the ladder truck.
And I understand that. I just want to make sure that we all aware that this is not something for structure fires. Is it gonna have the same paint job as the one we currently have running around now that's here in town that's not our fire engine red?
The white and blue one
Yes, sir.
was received on a grant in 2014.
Okay.
That will remain white probably for the life of the vehicle, to be quite honest. It belongs to Tiffin. It has been given to us. We utilize it as a first aid apparatus. This will replace that as a first aid apparatus. Not replace it, but allow that to go back in and be a booster.
Okay, so that's gonna go back as a booster.
Correct. Yes, sir.
That's because I saw it respond this morning and
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, whose truck is that? I mean, that.
That
doesn't-
was an experiment. That was how we moved towards this thought of the mini pumper. We had a Tahoe, the 2011 Tahoe that we donated to Waller last council, the one on the 6th. We used the booster as an experiment when that vehicle needed to be utilized by the deputy fire marshal. And it has proved out well. We have not had as many maintenance issues with ladder one as what we would expect from running the additional volume that we do with medical calls.
So my question is this one gonna be painted the same way as the
Yes.
white one?
No, it will be red.
It'll be red, just like the rest
It
of
will
it. And
be
the reason
red.
that's important to firefighters, guys, is if you're out fighting fires, you want to know what apparatus you're going to respond to. And when you get one that's out of your normal color, it can throw you off. You know?
My first question to Tiff was, could we paint it red?
Exactly.
And he said absolutely not.
Okay. And that's the only reason it's for firefighter safety. That's the reason I asked that question. Well, thank you, sir.
No problem.
I have a question. Lauren, not knowing the nature of this contract, is this the type of contract that would come under any legal review before we sign it?
I have reviewed it.
You have,
I
okay,
have, yes,
and it's good to go?
it was good to go.
Okay, all right. That's all I need to know.
Any other discussion? Let's call for the vote.
Can we do a roll call on this one?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Where would you like for me
You
to
start
start?
with John.
Okay, John.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next is item 3. It's consideration to approve zoning case P 22-111. Request from Shanaz Shazad, represented by Atif Shazad, to amend zoning 50 of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by rezoning approximately 2.10 acres of land legally described as being a portion of Lot 5 in Tomball Medical Park from agricultural to general retail. The property is generally located within the 13,100 block of Medical Complex Drive on the north side, approximately 250 feet east from the intersection of School Street and Medical Complex Drive, within the city of Tomball, Harris County. Nathan?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, Council, Nathan Dietrich with the Community Development Department. As described before, this is showing an aerial image of the location of the site. As stated already, it is on the 13,100 block of north side of Medical Complex Drive. And the current property owner intends on constructing a medical office building here. Immediately north of this is an existing office structure or office building along School Street. South of the subject property is Medical Complex Drive, and south of that is vacant land. East of it is M121 drainage channel, and immediately east of that is an existing RV park or mobile home subdivision. And then west of this property, immediately west, is a vacant property. As you can see today, this is a shot from Medical Complex Drive looking north to the property. As you can see, it just has vegetation on it. Once in a while. The current zoning is zoned agricultural. It has been that same way since the adoption of zoning in 2000. Near the intersection of these are two main thoroughfares, Medical Complex Drive. Locations are customarily considered appropriate for these commercial types of development, as they provide convenient access and exposure to higher volumes of traffic. According to Tomball's code, the general retail zoning is being considered as intended to provide areas for local neighborhood retail opportunities and services. Furthermore, general retail districts should be located along or near these intersections of major thoroughfares. For our future land use plan states that this is within our medical district, and this category is intended to provide emphasis on healthcare and supporting services for the healthcare development. According to this comprehensive plan, our land uses should include hospitals, clinics, offices, lodging, long-term care, retail, and restaurants. General retail and what this person, this developer is, the owner is trying to do, it falls within that scope. In our public notification, as you can see, it's 200 feet from the site. The green button shows that a person responded to our mailings and was in favor of the proposal or the application for the zoning. And staff has recommended approval with this zoning case for P22-111, and Planning and Zoning Commission voted to approve the zoning case P22-111. Basically, when this was presented to Planning and Zoning, it was fairly straightforward, and since it met the comprehensive and promotes the comprehensive plans, goals, and objectives, it was felt that it met all of our rules and regulations, and we moved forward to happy to answer questions.
Thank you. We'll probably call you back up during discussion. The next item on the agenda is to conduct a public hearing for this case, P22-111. It is now 7:04, and we are opening the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Anyone signed up? Is there anyone who has not signed up but who would like to speak on this issue? Yes, come forward, state your name and address.
Atif Shazad, 2010 Crossing Court, Conroe, Texas, 77384. Like tonight to listen to us, and also to see Derek and all our firefighters and Medium Blue for the services that people have. I'm a gastroenterologist. I work in the northeastern area. My older brother is Shazad, and my Shazad, my baby brother, both are cardiologists. They've been here for over 15 years. He's been here over 15 years, and so baby. But he's been going from office to office in Tomball, serving this area. His primary location. He's finally excited to buy some land and make a state-of-the-art medical complex there. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, we are closing the public hearing at 7:05. We are now closing the public hearing, and now we'll entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading ordinance 2022-12.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Okay. Call for the vote on reading by caption only.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2022-12, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, amending chapter 50 zoning of the chapter of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by changing the zoning district classification of approximately 2.10 acres of land legally described as being a portion of Lot 5 in Tomball Medical Park from agriculture to general retail district. The property is generally located within the 13100 block of Medical Complex Drive, North Side, approximately 250 feet east from the intersection of School Street and Medical Complex Drive, providing for severability, providing for a penalty of an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof, making findings of fact and providing for other related matters.
Okay. Next item, I will entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-12 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'm curious, what is the downside on general retail versus an office zoning designation?
Nathan, would you like to address that?
I would say there's not really any downside. It just gives a little bit more flexibility for them or if this particular development doesn't actually occur, it will allow for other medical office related types of construction to occur. And then if, say, there was a restaurant or something along those lines that also wanted to be there, and this didn't work out, then that would support that type of development in this location.
Okay.
Oh, you.
May I ask why you didn't go after office? And the reason I'm asking is, it sounds like to me what you're trying to achieve would fall under the office classification. We've had reservation here on council in the past with general retail, just because you can have drive-through restaurants, let's say, and this happens quite often in town. This is why I'm saying this. I know you may have your whole intentions of building what you want to build, but they may fall through and then you turn around and sell the property. The next landowner then can use that and build a fast food restaurant with general retail. And is that what we want in that area, or do we want to stay with office? And it sounds like to me with what you're trying to do, it falls under the office classification, according to what I'm looking at here. And I don't understand why office was not considered.
Sure. So originally, actually, the request that came from the owner, it was for commercial development. And so staff discussed with them in order to keep the flexibility open, we didn't want to encourage commercial in this particular location. So we met a compromise and moved to general retail, which we felt that since how the future land use plan is described in this particular area, it also supports general retail type services within this area. So since it did meet those requirements, even though that maybe there would be a push for offices, we felt that this was still an available and an option that we could consider.
Okay. I mean, I was just curious because, you know, we've had meetings, council meetings here not too far ago where this has been an issue. And Nathan, in fairness to you, I understand you're new with the city. And you know, but you know, we have to make these decisions that affect us long term. And you know, I'm not in favor of a parcel of land in that area being turned into a fast food restaurant, when it sounds like to me with office, what they're looking to do would fall under the office classification. And I think many times we have people that come to us wanting commercial classification because they want to put in a commercial business, but they don't understand what the commercial classification is.
That's correct.
Yeah, and I think, you know, sometimes that is misunderstood by applicants where if it's explained to them what the different classifications are, in that they would be somewhat more lenient towards the true classification, what they're looking to do.
Understood. Staff at this particular time felt that this was one of those, as described in the future land use plan or the comprehensive plan. This is an ancillary service that provides support and to the medical office profession.
Mhm.
So this would give that an opportunity also. So, but I understand exactly. what you mean.
Yeah, because if I'm reading this correctly, for offices, let me see if I can find it here again. Please bear with me here. Why don't we let somebody else go? I'll find it again and I'll come back to my comments.
I have a question. If they were given office, could they have a restaurant that doesn't have a drive-through? I mean, could they, in that office building, could they have someplace where people could go in and sit down and eat versus someplace that has a fast food joint?
I would need to. I believe that's correct, sir. Without the drive-through?
Without the drive-through. But if somebody wanted to bring in and put it in a fairly decent restaurant there, they could bring it in and have a nice place for people in the office areas or the medical area down there to have a place to go sit down and eat. If that's the case, then why don't we look at office and let them do that? Because I think if you have a medical supply,
An eating establishment with no drive-through service is acceptable with a conditional use permit.
okay,
I'm not doing your job for you. I just
just
I
have to
printed this
read.
out.
You have to be on that page.
So, I mean, what I'm trying to get at is, if our fear is we don't want to have drive-throughs, which I understand and we all agree upon that we don't really want every place in town to have drive-through restaurants. I would be in favor of making it an office and giving them the CUP to put in a restaurant if they wanted to have someplace for people in the medical field to go and sit down and
Right.
eat. I have no problem with that.
And Councilman, you hold the motion, so you could change it to office at this time. I mean, when we call for it.
through the amendment process. I understand
Right.
that, but my question can we have the folks who are trying to do this, can we have them come up and answer questions?
Yes.
We wanted to keep it general retail, but there are other, for example, there's a scrub shop or store level. There's a lot of ancillaries that go with the medical industry, including the hospitals and stuff like that. So we anticipated for about 15,000 square foot building in the track.
Okay.
And we wanted to keep it open. About half the building will be medical office. The other half will probably be what those answers are, you can have decided that. Issue we did apply for commercial, I understand the commercial zone is completely different with industrial and stuff like that. We don't have any intention for that. But we didn't want to keep it open for general retail. Have the option of adding to the, we are on the main road with the Columbus Drive, so they don't have the ability. We have no intention of having a fast food restaurant and stuff like that, make our office.
Well, I unfortunately, I've had to spend a whole heck of a lot of my last couple of years in medical buildings, unfortunately. And I have seen some very nice medical buildings that have office for scrubs, an office for wheelchairs or whatever, that. Could you not do that inside of your building if it was office and you leased out an office space for them? Can we do that? We could do that.
Can we keep it general retail and say not have drive-through restaurant?
That would be.
That would be.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just thinking that we can't. I think that might fall in the category of spot zoning, I think. If we say that they can't, because then if they sell the property, what does that do to the next person down the line?
All we're voting on here tonight is the zoning classification.
Right.
And what you're saying is, you're saying what your intentions are, which I'm not here doubting your intention.
At all.
Because, but what I have to go by is precedent. what's happened in the past, where we as council vote on one thing with a landowner that said he was going to do something. That landowner decides not to do it. That landowner turns around and sells the property. It now has that classification of, let's say for what you're doing, general retail. And the next owner that comes in says, I'm putting in a Jack in the Box. And that was not what the original person's intention was. That was not what council's intention was. That's the only thing we can vote on. So that's why I'm bringing up what I'm saying.
It's just, you know, it isn't expensive to the property on the road. And the property is not becoming a 4-lane road at this time. So we do want to keep our options open. If no one thinks of putting in, you know, Jack in the Box. Like this, you know, at this point, pretty much the building is, you already have the building, we're just waiting for permitting. Initially, I guess, we thought it was commercial, we're being taxed as commercial, but apparently it turns out to be agricultural. And that's why, like I said, didn't have to pretty much destroy the building. I understand your concern, but like I said, you know, it is a big building, and, you know, I don't know if we want to do it just to, there's a lot of answers on the medical office, right?
That's why I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do.
You do have like, like wheelchair, respiratory equipment, and those have things, or small snack shop. A lot of times doctors, they want a small snack shop and stuff like that. So the places sit down.
Right.
Conference room, that sort of stuff. So we would like the flexibility of having those things available. For them.
Well, like I said, I'm trying to work with you here and trying to give you that without putting it in a situation of where with general retail, that opens it up to a whole lot of other uses that we as a council have heard from the constituents that that's not necessarily what they want our town to be. And that's why I'm trying to work with you. Say, if you have office space and you can lease it out for a scrub shop or for a wheelchair shop or whatever the ancillaries are, and it's in one roof, one building without a retail appearance, I think we can work with you.
With my own knowledge, you know, what can you not do, what doesn't fall in, you know, what's the difference between offices and retail besides the drive through? What else can you not?
Could he do any of those shops in office?
Yeah.
Snack shops,
Yeah, like retail services is fine. There are certain limitations when it comes down to. So
could he put a scrub shop in?
yes.
snack shop.
Yeah. You know,
And this is part of what we had brought up with council before, is that with some of these changes and that we're able to have more folks within our department, our ideas are that we would probably come to at a later date with maybe some additional zoning districts that might kind of compartmentalize some of these instead of having such a wide array of uses within one particular district. And so that might help with kind of pinpointing certain locations as to what you might want to see in the future. Right now,
I'm all in favor of that, but we don't have that
very
tonight.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, because, I mean, just for your information, you could put a bar in there with general retail. I don't think we want a bar there.
no. And it's not you all that we're talking
Yeah,
about. It's simply if
please
somebody
don't.
else takes over the building, then they have those options, guys. That's what
Yeah.
we're trying to keep from happening.
But office with a conditional use permit gets you everything that you want.
Everything.
Do we have to apply for conditional use every time?
No.
No, we can
Well,
change the
I'll
motion.
Actually,
I'll
that
let-
is true. That's a true statement. We have to, depending on the use, right? So the conditional use permit, the person would have to come back in and apply for that particular time.
So what is it in office that they would have to come back? Would they have to come back with a conditional use for the scrub shop?
No.
Would they have to come back for the restaurant or for a snack shop?
Going off of, I don't believe so for either.
I understand. I'm putting you under the gun here and I'm not trying to do
Yeah, we
that.
just have a really large list of allowable uses, but there would be some of those uses that would need to actually come back. Say, for example, if they wanted to do a standalone restaurant, because 2 acres may provide them to do something small like that. So say let's just use that as an example. they would need to come back and apply for that as a conditional use for that particular use.
And that's why I was trying to get their whole entire building set up so that they can put what they want to inside one building. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. Instead of having a freestanding quote unquote restaurant. You know. That's, I don't know, that's up to them. Trying to find a way that we can work with you guys is what we're trying to do.
If we did, I guess it's gonna be one building.
Right.
There's only one building. If we can have the approval that we can put like, restaurant and.
Don't see there's a problem with it.
We're not into drinking alcohol, but.
No, I'm not saying.
If the place is sold, if someone does it.
In the appearance of your building, if I may ask, does it look like a strip shopping center or
It will
does
look like a strip center. It will look like a strip shopping, and everyone will have,
individual compartmentalized businesses?
But that's one reason why retail, there'll be a, that everyone, it looks like storefronts, small, nicer ones, might as well this one. Everyone will have, their own back door entrance, their own front door entrance.
Yes, sir.
So it's not a lobby.
Okay.
Because another thing, which a car dealership could go in under general retail.
Yeah.
These are the things that we have to look at as possible future things that what we want in that area. And I can only speak for myself. That's not what I want in that area as being classified as general retail. What Nathan mentioned about future reason, more classifications. I think that's great, Nathan, but unfortunately, we don't have that tonight to go by. We only have what our current ordinances allow us to do. But I think with the office under a conditional use permit for what you're trying to achieve, I think you're going to get everything that you want.
If we could do like an office, it would be like a strip mall, that would be acceptable.
I don't have a problem with it, provided that it falls under offices. I mean, because I don't want a 7-Eleven to go in there, guys. I don't want to have a auto sales shop. I don't want a tire shop. I don't want, those kind of things. Anything else that goes in, those go into retail.
I thought they went into commercial.
No, they go into retail. That's the situation we're up against.
Well, it's permitted under commercial also, but it's also permitted under general retail.
Yeah.
Right. So we do office with, we can have like a restaurant and.
That's what I'd like to see you do. That's what I'd love to have you guys do.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Yeah, because to
Would
have
you
like
like
a
to
little
come and
restaurant there
speak?
where people are in the medical, to have like a little restaurant there where medical people could come and sit that work in that area. I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you to think I'm opposed to that.
No, I understand your concern. If the Marvel have like a tire shop or a mechanic shop or something like that.
Right.
Car wash or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because unfortunately, we have people buy property just because of the classification of the property. And with the right business, they could buy your property, tear down the building and build exactly what we don't want because of that classification.
I think it would work. Like I said, our intention is to build medical office. We don't have like a small restaurant.
Yeah.
For doctors and necessarily drug shops, things like that. It will be a strip mall that way when that's own.
I don't have a problem with what it looks like. I mean, it doesn't have to be an office building, but yeah, we want to make sure that what goes in there is appropriate.
My old cardiologist.
I mean, it sounds like you got two people in favor. You just have to get one more and it's a done deal.
We want everyone
Everyone to be happy with me. I've been 16 years here in Cornwall.
Right.
Very, very long time. I don't do fast food, cardiology, big no-no for me.
Well, we do fast food, unfortunately.
We don't do alcohol, for religious reasons, we don't drink, we don't do that. Medicine is going through a lot of transformation. Right, you have big corporations that are buying up private practices, you have
Right.
hospital system buying private practices. You have federal government that are changing the rules of how offices run, right? I have to have a sign for this, a sign for that. When you start we have to also predict what's happening in the future. And we're dropping a lot of money into this place. It's not just, I mean, especially nowadays, right? So we have to have some flexibility of what's going on. You know, I don't want Tomball to go down. I work here. I've spent a lot of my time here. And, you know, reputations travel very quickly in Austria as well, right? So we want to make sure we have flexibility and, you know, first to be very, very limited. Am I looking to flip this place? I wouldn't throw cash into it before. You know, this is a 16-year decision, right? For a long time. So we ask that, you know, move the general retail if possible. I understand the concern of what in the future, but then you're really saying that the whole strip, that whole area should, no one should have general retail up there. No one should have commercial up there because we're very close to those areas. So what applies to us should apply to everyone.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So going forward, either before our block or after our block, there should nothing be going off. Otherwise, that'll be unfair to us now. And then, right?
We agree.
But I think from the city planning point of view, you have a major artery going down there. More than likely, you're gonna have some general retail there. You're gonna have other things there. So then we're basically singled out at this. Just something I throw out there because you're looking for the future. I have to look for the future. We have physicians that come in that I cannot just partner up with, for example, until I have certain names and Stark laws and all that stuff. We have no idea what. But I can tell you that I'm here for the city. I'm not here to destroy a city. I'm not gonna put a bar there. We would not sell it to a company that wants to put a bar there for religious reasons. So I'll be very upfront with that. Can I tell you Jack in the Box? We won't be putting 15,000 square foot there if you want to put Jack in the Box. Way cheaper option. We'll make it look pretty. It's not gonna look like a Taj Mahal or some big
That's fine.
like that, because that's not what we're looking into. But we'll be a nice functional place. We do need people. There's a lot of people that need something to eat, but fast to eat. They can't run to 249. There's a lot of traffic there. They need to sit down. They want to go bite. Sometimes we have patients there that want to sit bite. So we want to be able to have that flexibility. We can give things, some things, not me personally, but we may have an entity that comes in for them. That's all I have to say. I'm not a business person. I'm not a salesman or anything like that. I'm probably just construction more than I can use. But I've had two my younger brothers also my business partner. He's also there. So I just we'll spend our time there. But we're predominantly a medical facility. So we like the general retail option so we can not be tied in now to keep coming back to city council.
Okay, thank you.
So then
We currently, you hold, the motion is to change from agricultural to general retail.
now do I have to,
So-
if I make a change in my motion, we've got to go through the vote for me to have the right to change my motion, but we don't need a second on it and then we can vote on it. Okay, I'd like to change it to away from general retail to office, giving them whatever conditional use permits are necessary so that they can.
Permits are not on the.
Oh, not on the agenda, so we can't do that. Okay,
Those have to be considered later.
okay, that's fine. So I just amend my
Okay.
motion.
All right,
So the first question is, can Derek amend his motion? We'll go to vote on that.
okay.
Call a vote.
So this is the vote for Derek amending his motion. Randy?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Okay,
and now my motion shall be amended to changing it from general retail to office.
all right.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Okay, so
John?
is this the vote that approves it? Or
Yes.
just changes
Approves
it?
the office.
This is the motion to change it from
So it
agricultural to
approves the-
office.
Yes.
The whole thing. So Tracy had to go. I'm abstaining on this.
Because of your
Basically,
association.
just these fine gentlemen are partners with the hospital and I'm employed by the hospital, so I know you guys and you do fine work, but I don't want there to be any impropriety or anything there, so I will be abstaining.
Okay, well, somebody needs to write down that John
She
will be
went to go
signing,
get the form. This
signing
snuck up on
the,
me, I'm sorry.
the form to abstain from the vote for conflict of interest. Right, so we have a motion and we have a second. We will call for the vote.
In favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, 3 votes aye, no nays.
Mayor, can we take a 5-minute break, please, ma'am?
Yes, we're taking a 5-minute break. What if I said no? That would not.
I would've got it wrong anyway.
Right. Okay, and if you would any recordings that are going on, if you would turn those off. please. Turn off any recordings.
Definitely helps when you print this out. Definitely helps when you print this. It does. And I had to go in and put all the color in. Yeah, I've been meaning to bring this with me because I did this months ago. Yeah. It's actually
into session. So next item is item number 4. Consideration to approve zoning case 122-115, request from Welcome Land Development and Jacqueline Marshall, represented by Brian Harrison, to amend chapter 50 of the zoning ordinance by rezoning approximately 13.21 acres of land legally described as being a portion of Tomball Outlets 163, 167, 171, 172, 175, and 176 from ag to commercial. The property is generally located within the 13,000 block of Medical Complex Drive at the southwest corner of the intersection of South Cherry Street and Medical Complex Drive within the city of Tomball, Harris County, Texas. Nathan?
Yes, Madam Mayor, council members, the second zoning case before you is to discuss rezoning from agricultural land use to a commercial based zone district located on the southern side of Medical Complex Drive. As you can see, the portion that or the parcel that we were just talking about is to the north west of this, on the north side of Medical Complex Drive. This is across M121 drainage ditch into the south side for this additional 13.21 acres. Immediately to the north of that is Medical Complex Drive and that RV park as we talked about, and some vacant property. Immediately to the south of it is what you may remember was called Tabasco. It was an industrial site that is no longer being occupied, but it is owned by the same group that is looking to develop this piece of property. As you can see, if you're looking on the left side photo is looking down to the south side and to the east. And as you can see, it is currently vacant and wooded. And the next photo is looking west and to the north. And as you can see, it has been underbrushed, but it is again vacant and things like that. In the zoning map, as previously discussed, this is an agricultural zoning district. Immediately south of that is the light industrial zoning district where the Tabasco site is currently located. To the north of that is again ag. To the north of that is that RV/manufactured home park. And then to the west of it is the M121 ditch. On the east side, you'll find that there is some neighborhood commercial and also some other commercial locations along with some single family to the north east of that location on the other side of Cherry, South Cherry Street. Future land use plan in this particular location, as you can see, it is called out to be neighborhood commercial. And as we've discussed in the past, there are some opportunities we believe that in the future, but unfortunately we have not made any changes as of right now, but this would be one of those locations that we would have made a recommendation. But again, changing a future land use plan and a comprehensive plan is a very long process. But right now, what we are recommending is that even though that this property is designated for neighborhood commercial in the future, which would allow for consisting of restaurants, retail, professional services, clinics, and offices, that although the commercial zoning district requested does not strictly adhere to the neighborhood commercial land use identified in the future land use map, the conditions on the ground would suggest the proposed land use category may be more appropriate. And the reason for that is because of the existing industrial zoning that is immediately south of this location. We wanted to share with you what some of the exhibits that the applicant has submitted to us. And so this area that you're seeing on the east side or the right side at the corner is North Cherry or South Cherry. And then east and west is Medical Complex Drive. So what they would end up doing is looking to the white building, which is on the southern side, closest to South Cherry, is what the Tabasco site is currently there. They are looking to improve and kind of place this tilt wall development along Medical Complex Drive and have some other office spaces on the front, and then have a truck yard and some other kind of smaller buildings to the rear, to the south of that. And then adjacent to them, 121 ditch, they would have their detention. From the public notification map and our public hearing notifications, we can see there were 2 responses given on the north side of Medical Complex and to the current owner of the property that owns that triangular piece. They were both in favor, feeling that this was a good opportunity for investing Heights along this corridor. In our discussion, staff recommended approval of the zoning case. As we had previously stated, even though it might not be in line with the future land use plan, because it's so close and immediately adjacent to a light manufacturing or light industrial location, both in use and in zoning, that we felt that this was a more appropriate district to approve instead of a neighborhood commercial location. During our planning and zoning meeting, we had a pretty extensive discussion in regards to this. We discussed what there were lots of questions regarding what light manufacturing would allow for in this particular area, if they were to request that, and if they were to do any sort of light manufacturing, what would that mean? And in a commercial zoning district, what we responded to planning and zoning is that basically what that meant is that light manufacturing portions would have to be held internal to the property, or internal to the building, I'm sorry. And so that was one of the questions that we answered for them. And then also for the suitability for the site for the neighborhood commercial, and the discussion of the surrounding land uses and how they would be buffered adjacent to this particular site. So we did have a very good discussion, but in the end, planning and zoning voted to approve this case.
Well, at this time, I will call you back for discussion. Because next on the agenda is to conduct a public hearing for case P 22-115. It is now 7:45 PM and we are opening the public hearing. Tracy, is there anyone wishing to speak signed up?
I do not have anyone signed up.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak during the public hearing on this item? If so, come forward, state your name and address.
We need to. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Wassaw, 5858 West Tyler, Suite 800, Houston, Texas 77057. Yeah. Like I said, so I'm here to represent Welcome Group, local developer, family owned out of Houston, Texas, chairman, Welcome Wilson Senior. And this is a project that we're excited to get started on. We bought this building here, the Tabasco building. And prior to that, we built the JDR cable building in Tomball Business Park. So we were excited to do that project, and that's something that we own and lease back to JDR Cable. We bought the Tabasco building, knowing that they were going to leave. We've since improved it, painted it, done some improvements, and we're waiting for a tenant to show up. And this building is about 20,000 feet of office space and about 60,000 feet of warehouse space in the back. And so in trying to get it leased up, which we haven't done yet, we hope we will soon, we went ahead and bought this piece right here next to us to get the corner cleaned up. And we have under contract this last piece up here in order to get the area nice and cleaned up and get some new businesses in the area to help lease our asset. Like we said, this is zoned light industrial. We were just wanting to turn this into commercial up here. This property here below us is free of any pipelines. But this one here, its pipelines all over. And has a well that we have to plug as well. The Tortuga pipeline, as we all know. We worked out all the details of Tortuga pipeline, the current owner in Tortuga, to relocate all the lines, plug the well. This line will stay. So we worked all that out with them, and this is what we would like to do once we get that done. As you can see, it's a tilt wall building, lots of glass. We're trying to bring in small businesses to the area. This is going to be cut up into, no less than really 10,000 feet. Kind of businesses. We're looking for, really medical users, gymnasiums, pool supply company, small businesses in the area that are looking for space. This guy. That covered it? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we might call you up. We might call you up during the discussion time when we go after the public hearing. Is there anyone else? Okay, then we're going to close the public hearing at 7:47. And now I'll entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading ordinance number 2022-13.
Motion. Second.
Okay, call for the vote.
We have discussion.
Oh,
Oh, you
this-
read by caption only.
This
I'm
is
sorry,
a
my bad,
discussion
my
for,
bad.
anybody have discussion for caption only reading?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Call for the vote.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2022-13, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, amending chapter 50 zoning of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by changing the zoning district classification of approximately 13.21 acres of land legally described as being a portion of Tomball outlots 163, 167, 171, 172, 175, and 176 from agricultural to commercial district. The property is generally located within the 13,000 block of Medical Complex Drive South Side at the southwest corner of the intersection of South Cherry Street and Medical Complex Drive, providing for severability, providing for a penalty of an amount not to exceed 2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof, making findings of fact and providing for other related matters.
Okay. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-13 on first reading.
So move.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Oh, I cannot, there is discussion.
Yeah. Carries.
You're like, whoa, okay, I'll call for the vote. Okay.
You probably heard my comments from the previous agenda item.
Very well.
So I can't really touch more onto it, except commercial is even more wide open than what we were trying to do before. Where with commercial, you could put in, auto mechanic shops, things like that, which is even more invasive than what we had discussed previously. So again, unless I think you have a good project. I just don't think it's the right location. So I will be voting against.
Can you tell me what you prefer to have there?
Medical, office,
Bless you.
since that's somewhat leading into our medical area and those type of projects.
That's basically what it is office at the front.
Would you like to come forward and speak?
But like I
We're in
explained. to-
discussion, so it's okay.
Yeah, no, but like I explained to the other gentleman, unfortunately, the only vote I have tonight is whether it's going to be commercial or not. And I don't control what goes in, because all I can control is if I vote in favor of it, anything that falls under the commercial classification would be eligible to go in there. And I can't control that, but what I can control is my vote. And so that's what I'm voting on.
The frontage is all glass, as everybody knows,
Mhm.
which would be primarily office and along the front, good looking, glass tilt wall. It's gonna look like an office building. And then potentially somewhere else.
Right, but I mean, I can't control if all of a sudden we give you commercial classification. And again, we've seen this happen before. You show us a project that you want to do, you don't jump on it, or the project never matures, you turn around and sell it. And if we give you commercial, the next buyer can come in and do whatever they want that falls in commercial. And they could put in something totally different than what our idea, our thoughts are, and what the citizens' ideas are for that area. So to protect our citizens and that, I have to protect them with my vote tonight. So that's what I'm doing.
I would like to see offices, period. Medical offices, because that is our medical complex corridor. If y'all, that's where we've been heading, is in this whole area is nothing but medical. When you mentioned swimming pool company, yeah, that was one that told me, nope. And the reason why, again, I go back to my firefighting experience. Prevailing winds in this area is from the southeast. We get a chemical spill, we get whatever. We've got stuff going all over our town and our city. And that's why I'm fearful of commercial, is that I don't want something to happen that affects prevailing winds, blowing it over. I know Randy's was a chief. He probably doesn't necessarily agree with me on this, but you see that thing from this far away, you're too close to it. And I just don't want prevailing winds to take any chemicals or any of that kind of stuff over our community. That's kind of where I'm at.
Future land use, let's talk about that for a minute. So if I remember correctly, the ditch is kind of the dividing line between what is deemed medical. Is that right? Medical and so what's that color over there on the other side of the ditch? Medical.
Yes.
Okay, I can't see those colors, I'm sorry. And then what's the color on the bottom?
Industrial.
Industrial, and that's where the
Industrial.
yeah, okay. And then, so this is neighborhood commercial? Is that a classification?
For the future land use plan, yes, it is.
What is the definition of that?
So, would you mind?
Let him drive.
Yeah.
Sign up student driver.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't we have a bunch of stuff listed in this thing, in this? I
So
read that
just
today.
so Tabasco is industrial.
Yes.
Okay,
General retail. And then we went to a Brown.
so while you're searching that, is neighborhood commercial and commercial in the zoning world, is that a natural transition from industrial?
No.
It is not. Okay, what
It'd
is?
be more natural if you were to have like a commercial or a general retail between those two, and then you go to. It's like it's almost like you're going from the highest intensity to the lowest intensity.
Highest being industrial.
Yes.
And then you're going to neighborhood commercial, and you said it would be better to have retail or commercial? Or
Well, how our zoning districts are kind of. The names of our zoning districts are commercial, which is the next highest intensity of use. And then it goes to general retail, and then it goes to office.
Okay,
Those are our four, I guess, in
so,
levels of intensity.
so what he is suggesting is we go from industrial to commercial, which is the most intense to the next most intense. That seems pretty natural to me, that you go down a step instead of skipping a couple of steps.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why when in our explanation is that when we originally had this and we had this development, pre-development meeting with these folks, is that we felt that this was an an opportunity for us to go in and make some suggested changes to our comprehensive plan and includes our future land use. However, due to some vacancies in our department, we weren't able to direct all of our time and efforts into that. And so what we recommended is these folks come to you and suggest for these, request these particular changes. And then we could have a discussion in regards to how this looks from a future land use plan. And then
Okay,
moving over to the zoning situation.
okay, and that little corner up there on the north side of medical complex right there, what is that?
That is currently agricultural
And
because it hasn't been rezoned
and-
yet. And the same.
And the
with some of our
future land use is,
Future land use is partially, I believe this is a duplex.
holy moly.
I believe that's duplex, and then this is neighborhood commercial.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
There, I don't want to say that, sir. but,
I will.
There are some challenges that this presents itself, and so what we're trying to do is we're trying to see what we can bring forward to you and what makes the most sense when it comes down to.
Nathan, is there any residential up there?
So the closest residential, Madam Mayor, is over here to the left, or
Cherry.
to the east, we should say.
Cherry Meadows.
Cherry Meadows, which is right here. But those have access onto the medical complex drive or agro, which is right here before the intersection of South Cherry. This area up here, which is is like
The RV park.
the RV park or mobile home park, but they have no access directly to medical complex. All of it all funnels out to South Cherry, which is over here.
And all this over here is residential,
That is currently from a
future land use.
future land use plan, it is residential, and then zoning, it is
Yeah,
residential to mixed bag. And as you can see, we have residential, even though it says in the future land use plan, it was residential. There's commercial here, there's industrial here, commercial here again. So but there's a lot of competing uses in this particular area.
In this neighborhood commercial, and I looked through it before tonight, but some of the things that are striking to me is that you can have a brew pub in there. You can have a dance hall in there. You can have a convenience store there. Let's see here. Some of the things that we probably don't necessarily want to be there. Home improvement center there. Mobile food court can go in there. Oh, that's by permanent use, I'm sorry. You can have a meat and fish market retail go in there. So, golly, I hate this. I want you to be able to do your project. I really do.
That's where I'm.
That's,
I appreciate it. We're just trying to help.
I know, and I understand that. But we, like Councilman Stoll said, we have to look out for our community, and it's not so much what you guys are gonna do, it's what somebody else is gonna do that puts us in a query. Yeah, once this council's gone and you're gone, we've still got to have something in place that they have to come and ask the next council to make a change. And that's where I'm coming from. You can have an all-terrain go-kart dealer sales place there, all-terrain vehicle with and without outdoor displays. Automobile repair and painting shop goes in there. Those are the things we don't want in there.
You can have a motor freight transportation storage and terminal put in there.
You can actually have a bulk freight drop-off place in there, in that what you're asking for. It's not, I guess there's not what you guys are doing.
Why'd you pick commercial?
That was what we discussed, that would suit this project, what we thought was work for the area.
Bus and truck storage?
With something else.
Well, so what we had discussed.
Because we're not all office, it's a mixed bag, so.
Yeah, the original request was actually for light industrial. So as we went through all of these conversations with these folks and again, looking at what we currently have within our future land use plan and our zoning districts out there, is that we felt that this transition, and because the transition buffers up against the medical complex, it can't go any further than that. And because of the barriers, the median, and it's kind of controlled in its circulation pattern, coming off of South Cherry, and it's got two dedicated lanes of traffic going east and west. We felt that this was, if we were to allow anything, we didn't want to allow industrial, even though it was immediately adjacent. We felt that this might be the best transition between.
That's the word I'm looking for, is transition.
And another thing that y'all mentioned, be possibly putting in there would be some kind of a event location for like volleyball or something, sports type stuff.
I didn't understand the sensitivity until about 20 minutes.
I think you mentioned.
That's probably not a good decision.
I think you mentioned.
Well, no, I'm just saying, we have
A gym.
Yeah, we have a gym. We have a volleyball place here that they came and built, and they talked another group of people, not this council, but some other folks, into letting them drop 175 parking spaces. So we got lambasted by all the citizens in the neighborhood across the street. Why is everybody parking in the street? We couldn't get a fire truck in here or an ambulance in here if we wanted to, because everybody's blocking the street. So, we're sitting here going, oh my goodness. So, we have to, we catch those midnight calls to Georgia.
When you talk about flexibility, I mean, it offers flexibility for multiple kind of uses. And it's developed several different small businesses.
Is it possible to have the next classification with the CUP meet your needs on things that you wanted to have come in? It does mean coming before this council a little bit more with the CUP. But is that possible? You see the dilemma that brought up that we're in is
Yes.
because we have voted commercial before and it has bitten us. And until we have, and it is on our master plan to work on this, but the wheels of government move a little slower than business, I'm learning. So it takes time to change that. But a lot of these things will be changed, but we have to think, as Councilman Phil said, in the future. So I'm wondering what is next to try to accommodate what they want to do.
Could they go back and look at, again, the office classification with conditional use permits?
I was even going to recommend if we were to do something along those lines, go to general retail and see if there were other ones that are immediately adjacent to industrials like the Vasco. That versus or some of those higher intensity uses. I would need to scrub through here to make sure that we would meet the needs of those.
I just would like to make sure that you've got a tract of land that we just had a major discussion about, catty corner across the detention, across the drainage ditch, that I would not like to put them in an unfair or in a disadvantage to another tract of land that we're talking about now.
That's right.
That would not be fair to them.
I kind of like the office and conditional use permit.
Scientific and industrial research laboratories can go into a commercial location. That's scary.
So.
Can we, let me ask you gentlemen something. I know y'all are wanting to move because time is money, let's face it. Cost you more the longer you wait to build something. If we take no action on this item tonight, they can come back to the next meeting and get right back on the agenda, correct? Would it be sufficient to please you guys that we let you all kind of look at this thing again, and because you now 20 minutes later know how sensitive this. Not so much redo the whole project, but at least think about possible different classification. Would that kill you guys?
We're, happy to do what we can. Try to make it happen.
We want your project, guys, but we also, like I said, we got to be fair to everybody and the citizens. So.
Your projects were in the business park before, correct?
Ma'am?
Your projects were in the business park
Yes,
before?
yeah, we built the JDR table.
Right, which is
Beautiful building.
specifically
Yeah.
to business park,
Yeah,
so
and
they're,
we were gonna do more in there, and we very well might, because we were just, well, since we got this asset here,
Right.
and it's industrial, let's just build a little, the next classification goes down to more flex, project.
okay.
And let's clean up the area to help our asset. And we can easily, well, we're not, sorry, but we can do it somewhere else, we can, but we were trying to help this immediate area look prettier, nicer, and bring more businesses to it all. And that's the idea.
And we don't want you guys to feel like we don't want you here, because we do. Just, where's the best place for the project that you're wanting to do? And is there something you can do in that location that makes it good for everybody?
So do we have a change on the,
Well, I want to, before I take this in no items, I want to talk to this gentleman, find out if that's something y'all be willing to do.
Sure.
Okay. Then what do I have to do, Lauren, as far as take no action, just let it fall?
We've got a,
Motion in a second.
you got a motion and a second on the table.
Yes, sir.
You could move the table, it would come back up the exact same way, but I don't think that's a problem
No,
next time. So I would say,
just,
move the table up, and then when it comes back off the table next time, it's already got a motion in a second.
so does that put them off any further in the distance as far as getting them back on the agenda for the next meeting?
You can make the motion table to the next meeting.
Okay, all right. That's, is that fair to you guys?
Choose the classification. Hold on a second. That just, no, you could go lesser. Okay.
He can go less or he just can't go more.
Yeah.
Correct.
You couldn't go from commercial to industrial. But you could
Right.
Go from commercial to general retail or to office.
Correct.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
I will like to table this until the next meeting,
Okay.
next council meeting, so that you guys aren't strung out for a month.
So you've got a motion to table.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Is it?
July 5th.
July 5th, the day after the 4th of July. Will you be here or are you going on vacation?
I'm going on, come back in a month. I'm going on.
No, I don't want
I'm just having two.
I don't want to string you guys out, seriously, whatever's best for you.
so we have a motion to table until
Yes.
the next meeting. Do we need a second?
Yes.
I'll second
Okay, call for the vote.
Aye.
All right,
All opposed, same sign? Okay,
Motion to table to next meeting, 7/5/2022.
thank you for being understanding.
okay. Item number 5. Consideration to approve zoning case P 22-184, request by Harrisburg Homes to amend the city comprehensive plan to update the major thoroughfare plan map, reclassifying the proposed east-west extension of Medical Complex Drive from a major arterial to a minor arterial, specifically being a segment that is planned to extend approximately 0.9 miles from the eastern right-of-way boundary of Huffsmith Fargo Road toward the southern right-of-way boundary of Mahaffey Road, Harris County, Texas. Nathan, you're up again.
Yes, Madam Mayor, council members, Nathan Dietrich, Community Development Department. Basically, this is, I'd be happy to go into further discussion with you, but you've seen this now 3 times. And so what basically has happened since the last time we brought this back to planning and zoning, Harrisburg and the applicant decided to come back and leave this on the major thoroughfare plan, but downgrade it very similarly to the west side of what happened about 2 years ago on the west side of Medical Complex Drive. So they'd like to downgrade it to a minor arterial, but leave it on the major thoroughfare plan, which would basically mean that they would downgrade it to about an 80-foot right of way, which would allow for 2 lanes of traffic moving east and west along that segment of Medical Complex Drive. So they're looking to leave it in there. again, here is the location, so you can see how the alignment intersects with where medical complex intersects with House of Corville, and then bringing up, in this particular case, just to where the ending of the property owner's land goes. Here is a couple of site photos that shows you the intersection of medical complex east of House of Corville. So this is just the new intersection that's going to be opened up here very soon. And then the other on to the right is the proposed alignment of medical complex drive southwest of Mahaffey. So this would be, you're traveling south on Mahaffey, and as you go around the corner to the west, this is where that alignment will tie into the road. Again, here's what the zoning, the surrounding zoning. Please remember that this is not currently inside the city limits, it's in our ETJ. So we do not have any zoning authority within this area. The future land use plan, as you can see, would be, if they were inside our city limits, we would enforce industrial along Hudson Corville, and then residential along those other areas. The green represents parks and excuse me. This is the proposed alignment that was submitted via the applicant. This is what they currently think their site plan would look like in efforts to make the alignment up to the northeast of the property. And this would be the surrounding development. Again, we would have subdivision authority in this area, but no land use authority at all. If I can answer any questions, I'm happy to do so, but I know the applicant is here to answer those questions if you have any.
Okay, we'll call this up during the discussion time.
Oh, and one, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, is that staff would recommend approval because they're going to keep it on the major thoroughfare plan. Planning and zoning actually voted to deny the case. We had a very long discussion in regards to this, but basically the concerns that were brought up about this was they felt that it still needed to stay as the elevated major arterial just due to what the proposed quote unquote bypass would offer in the future. Excuse me. And in the end, it was both two lanes.
Okay.
Public hearing now.
Oh, okay. Did you finish?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is conduct a public hearing for case P22-115. It is now 8:15 and we're opening the public hearing. Is there anyone signed up to speak?
I don't have anyone signed up, Mayor.
Does anyone want to speak on this item? Okay, we will close the public hearing at 1:16. 8:16, sorry. 8:15.
Later you think.
All right. I will entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading ordinance number 22-115.
So moved.
All right, call for the vote.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2022-15, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, amending the Tomball Comprehensive Plan by changing the major thoroughfare plan map, providing for severability, providing for a penalty of an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof, making findings of fact and providing for other related matters.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-15 on first reading.
Second,
Okay, discussion.
Nathan, you said we would maintain an 80-foot right of way with a 2-lane road. Is that 1 lane going each direction? Or is that basically a 4-lane road with 2 lanes going in each
Enough
direction?
room for a 4-lane road. Initially, what would happen is that based on traffic volume, like any other development, they could build out the road as necessary, for the amount of trips that are generated from the development. But what was explained from the owner of Harrisburg before is that what they're willing to do is build it out as a 4-lane. That's a 4-lane section going east and west at the intersection of Corville, and then we'll have a boulevard section there as an entryway. And then as you went further into development, and maybe Kyle might be able to say this a little bit better, but I think it's about maybe 500 to 600 feet. It would truncate down to just 1-lane traffic going east and west, but
Right.
would allow for there to be future improvement to that. lane traffic.
If in the future, we could go 2 lanes each direction,
Yes.
just like the rest of Medical Complex Drive is.
That's correct.
But the 2 lanes would not have a median, would not have room for a median.
So you could look at it in a couple different ways. There are a number of scenarios throughout the city that 80-foot right of way would allow for us a very small median, but we don't believe that there would be with the amount of utilities that would be necessary up that road or on either side of the road, especially if we were to have improved sidewalks and things like that. But I would say it would most likely just be 2 lanes of traffic going.
With a yellow stripe down the middle.
Yes.
Does county maintain it? It's got a yellow stripe, I believe. Would the county be putting it in?
Would be left up to the county.
Have we talked with the county on this, since this is their thoroughfare plan, not our thoroughfare plan?
Yes, we've had extensive discussions with them to say is that they really left it in our court to make that decision whether we want to keep it on the thoroughfare plan or not.
Is that recently?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And so, but it is, from my understanding, it is not on any near-term, mid-term, or long-term plan or CIP. So it will be, I mean, it could be in 10 years as plans change, it could be 5 years, could be 2 years. Wouldn't be for us to determine.
Okay, we may need to verify some of that. There's conflicting discussions on that when we talk to the county. So.
Sure.
Okay.
So from our previous vote on this, which was to maintain it on the map as a thoroughfare, right? Major thoroughfare, which is by definition at that time was 2 lanes of traffic on each side, separated by a wide median, grassy median. And what the compromise, so to speak, and what's being tried to be passed here is you can still have your 4-lane road, but it'll be no median.
That's correct. That was basically in our last conversation with them here at city council. That was the direction it was.
I haven't changed my thought process from the last time.
Remind me what that is.
I voted in favor of maintaining the major thoroughfare.
And getting rid of the grassy median changes it to a minor.
Well, what is before you today is we are requesting, or they have requested to downgrade it, to keep it on the major thoroughfare plan, to downgrade it as a minor arterial versus a major.
What does that mean to the layman?
Basically, it reduces the right of way width from approximately 100 feet of right of way to an 80.
So 20 feet.
Basically.
What you're talking about. That's what I wanted to get out.
And so basically coming up to the intersection, if we only have 80 feet, do we have room for a turn lane?
If I remember the discussion, they were gonna make the original first several hundred feet a major with a median in it based on what we're saying.
That's right. That's what they've shown actually. If you could go back.
So the intersection would be fine. It's just the curved road leading up to 2920, actually up to Mahaffey is
Well,
what would be affected.
But is it an 80-foot right of way at the intersection that they're
No.
asking for, or 100-foot?
It'd be the 100-foot right away.
Actually, would it be?
It's like it does have a median.
Let me first say, the city's minor arterial typical section allows for divided in. Those of which are 4 lanes,
Mhm.
to each direction. Because what my client wants to do is he would match the 100-foot right of way in Huffman Corville, come into the development with complement the boulevard. And then step it down, and to serve his development, he only has to build 2 lanes. And so it would be, what's the city or the county future plan? Is that include the boulevard, or is that 4 lane? For him to just have the corridor definition, is that 80 feet or is that? Okay, the original vision for the medical complex was 6 lanes and 120 foot lane. It's been downgraded on the western side to 8. And that's west of 249 bypass. The section that just opened is 100 foot. So kind of the 6 lane vision has gone bye-bye. Could you get 6 lanes in 100 foot? Yes. If you compromise the lane width, you could compromise median. Can you get 6 lanes in 80 foot? No.
So kind of on this drawing up here, rendition that we're looking at right now at the intersection for your westbound traffic, you're gonna have 2 throughs and a turn lane, or will you just simply have 2 lanes and one of those be the turn? Westbound.
There'd probably be a you have two throughs on the left.
2 throughs and a left,
Which is exactly what's on here.
and that's what, yeah, okay.
So you just mirror that.
As long as it's mirrored and it's gonna go in 400 feet, 500 feet, whatever.
They're looking at commercial and general retail.
Gotcha.
Okay, which complements what just got approved to the south of them here.
Good.
And right now from 249 west, it's an 80-foot right away.
Behind the academy. To the west, yes. They got downgraded to a minor arterial.
We've got a hotel on that right there too.
So, but at the intersection, it's 100 foot of Huff Smith Corville and Medical Complex?
Yes, for this development, they'd probably stick with it.
It's 100 foot on it already built.
Yes.
That's just gonna eat into their commercial development, it's all it's gonna do, a little bit.
But it gives them a grander.
I understand that.
Any other discussion? Are y'all ready to call for the vote? Okay, let's start with.
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously.
Yeah.
All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Okay, let's
Motion
go.
carries unanimously.
Adjourn.